Kaos has become a mega hit for Netflix by pulling some very old stories into the modern day, ancient Greek mythology. In this telling, some of the most recognizable names from the ancient legends are everyday people, and the Greek gods are still worshipped and revered.
Hey guys, they're just about to unveil this monument to us in Crete.
Whether you're familiar with Greek mythology or not, Kaos is loaded with clever nods to the enduring stories that shape the trials and tribulations each character faces, while still creating a brand new plot. Let's dive into our take on the Greek myths that inspired Kaos, how they were updated to fit our world, and of course, that cliffhanger ending. Warning, major spoilers ahead. Kaos takes place in a modern world where the ancient Greek gods are still worshipped and society functions around their influence. The first couple of episodes begin with our characters celebrating Olympia Day, an event to honor Zeus, king of the gods, and the god of thunder, lightning, and the sky.
Please, Zeus, make it rain.
In addition to celebrating Zeus's Olympia Day, we also see churches dedicated to Hera, the goddess of women, childbirth, and marriage, the queen of the gods, and sister wife to Zeus. Yes, you heard us right, sister wife. The show also brings other dark habits of the ancient era into our modern times, with humans self-mutilating and volunteering themselves for sacrifice to serve the gods.
Check out Agatha's ugly shoes.
The show also slips classic Greek names into the show, from things as simple as a gas station and cereal brands to the characters themselves. But in all of the chaos, the show focuses in on a few classic stories in particular. So let's zoom in and see how they've imagined these legends playing out in our world. Orpheus and Eurydice. This ancient legend follows Orpheus, the world's most talented musician, and Eurydice, a wood nymph. But not long after they were married, she was bitten by a venomous snake and passed away. Heartbroken, his life holding no purpose without Eurydice, Orpheus traveled to the underworld to demand Hades, king of the underworld and the dead, to allow him to take Eurydice back to the land of the living. Orpheus sang so mournfully, so beautifully, that Hades couldn't help but agree. He warned, however, that Orpheus should not look back at Eurydice until they both reached the sunlight again, otherwise she would fade into the darkness of the underworld. Orpheus agreed and happily made his ascent from the underworld.
Finally, just before he stepped out of the underworld and into the bright light of day, he gave in to temptation.
He watched helplessly as Eurydice disappeared, forever condemned to death. The gods refused to allow Orpheus to try again, so he spent the rest of his life in tormented dismay until he died and was finally reunited with his beloved. Kaos included versions of these very characters dubbed as Orpheus and Riddy, short for Eurydice.
She prefers Riddy.
And a very similar story. In their version, however, Riddy has fallen out of love with Orpheus, a world-famous rock star.
Every morning you think, maybe today, and you never do it. Today you will. Or what? Leave it.
When she dies after being hit by a truck, coincidentally with the words serpent solutions on the side, Orpheus is so heartbroken he removes the coin from her mouth, the only way for Riddy to achieve renewal when a soul is brought back to Earth to begin again.
Because I needed her to stay so I could go and find her so we could be together.
Selfish prick!
With the help of Dionysus, he goes through the trials of reaching Riddy in the underworld, beginning with entering a game show in a bar called The Cave, where a one-eyed Poly, short for Polyphemus, a vicious cyclops in Greek mythology, and the Fates determine if Orpheus is worthy of descending to the underworld. Orpheus uses his musical skills and help from Dionysus to be allowed entry. Down in the underworld, he receives help from Charon, the ferryman who transported souls across the river Styx in the myths, until he finally reaches Riddy in Asphodel, the city of the underworld. He's delighted, but Riddy is angry. Orpheus was so blinded by his own love and need for her that he couldn't see that she didn't love him anymore, even before she died.
It wasn't love anymore. It was need. You needed me.
Of course it was love.
Eventually, they make their way back up to the land of the living. Kaos cleverly twists the ancient ending and instead has Riddy make it out of the underworld, and Orpheus refuse to look at her.
Please, look at me.
I don't want to.
Kaos also pulls from a complicated legend rooted in ancient Crete, where King Minos and his wife Pasiphae ruled. They imprisoned and employed Daedalus, a brilliant inventor, architect, and sculptor, after he murdered his nephew in Athens. As explained in the Encyclopedia Britannica, after he arrived in Crete, he was thrust into another messy situation. Because Minos had kept a white bull given him by Poseidon for the purpose of sacrifice, Poseidon had caused Pasiphae to physically desire the bull. She thereby became pregnant and bore the Minotaur, a creature with a human body and a bull's head. Minos turned to Daedalus, requesting him to build a labyrinth from which the Minotaur could not escape. When the Athenians murdered one of Minos' sons, he decreed as punishment that 14 Athenians should be sacrificed to the Minotaur every year. One year, Theseus, a hero, was one of the sacrifices. Princess Ariadne, daughter of Minos and Pasiphae, wanted Theseus to live.
I really want to Theseus. My bodyguard.
So she asked Daedalus for help. With the inventor's advice, Theseus was able to kill the Minotaur and escape the labyrinth, Ariadne fleeing with him. In punishment for his help, Minos locked Daedalus and his son Icarus in the labyrinth. Daedalus built wings of wax and feathers for the two of them to escape with. Icarus unfortunately flew too close to the sun, melting the wax of his wings and sending him plummeting to the ocean below. In Kaos, we see many of the same characters with a unique spin on each. Minos is president of Crete, with Ari, or Ariadne, as his heir. Theseus is her bodyguard, and Daedalus is still a prisoner, unbeknownst to Ari at first. They still have a labyrinth, a maze of prison cells deep underground. Ari's parents told her that she accidentally killed her twin brother Glaucus when she was a baby by rolling onto him and suffocating him. Ari has lived with that guilt her entire life until the Furies, goddesses of vengeance, tell her that Minos ordered Daedalus to kill Glaucus to escape a prophecy. They didn't kill the boy, and instead they imprisoned him in the labyrinth for his entire life, where he turned into a vicious monster.
I made his mask. His horns. All of it.
And thus he was dubbed the Minotaur.
One myth Kaos hasn't touched on yet, but that could pop up in later seasons, is that of Philyra, a water nymph and mother of the first ever centaur, who also happened to be a goddess of, among other things, fragrances. I also love perfumes, and with there being so many great options out there, it can be super difficult to settle on just one. While I do like the idea of having a signature scent, I just love being able to switch things up depending on the season or my mood. So that's why I've been enjoying Scentbird so much recently, as it lets me try out a bunch of different fragrances without breaking the bank. I love that it allows me to rediscover old favorites, like Juliet Has a Gun's Not a Perfume, a longtime favorite of mine, that has the perfect clean, simple scent for every day. I've also found some new favorites, like Rose's Vanille by Mancera, which is a sweet but not too sweet mix of rose and vanilla with cedarwood, lemon, and white musk adding some deeper layers. This Bottle Is Not Blue by Histories des Parfums is perfect for keeping the summer vibes going even as the weather starts to cool. And Judith Ripka's Moonlit Nights is an ideal scent for chill autumn evenings, combining floral and bergamot notes with amber, sandalwood, and oud. Whether you also just always love switching things up and trying out new scents, or you just want an easy way to find the one scent for you without spending a wild amount of money, Scentbird is perfect for you. They have so many options, which come in these convenient 30-day supplies, so it's enough to really test out the scents and figure out if you like it, while also helping you avoid the disappointment that can come from buying a whole bottle just to realize you actually don't love it. They also have a super helpful quiz that can help you figure out which fragrances to try out. And the Scentbird community's reviews really help you get a feel for each perfume before you make your choice. Scentbird has everything from luxury brands like Prada to more niche fare like Roa, and everything in between. And we're so excited because they've given us a code, TheTake55OFF, for you to use to get 55% off your first month at Scentbird. So you'll get your first fragrance for only $8. Find your new favorite scent or scents and support The Take. Thanks to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Scan our QR code or head over to scentbird.com and use our code TheTake55OFF to get 55% off your first month of Scentbird.
The final myth Kaos draws inspiration from is that of Prometheus and Zeus. To punish the mortals, Zeus kept fire from them. Behind Zeus's back, Prometheus, a master trickster and craftsman, took the fire and returned it to the humans. Furious, Zeus chained Prometheus to a rocky cliff and sent an eagle to eat his immortal liver, which constantly replenished itself.
Am I likable?
He says to the person whose liver he has pecked out every day by an eagle.
Their relationship and story didn't end there, though. According to Prometheus Bound, written by Greek playwright Aeschylus, Prometheus knows that Zeus will need his help with a prophecy, one that threatens his kingly seat. But Prometheus refuses to offer help or unseal his lips until Zeus have loosened Prometheus's chains and granted for these injuries redress. Prometheus believes that Zeus owes him something first, because Prometheus supported Zeus against his father Kronos, and Zeus unjustly punished Prometheus.
It's your own fault that you're here. You betrayed me.
I didn't betray you. That's the f***ing tragedy.
In Chaos, Zeus did punish Prometheus for a supposed betrayal, but years later, Prometheus has rebuilt the relationship between them, so Zeus trusts him again. Prometheus, still bitter, plans to strike back against Zeus when the moment is right. Zeus is plagued by a prophecy, and he's growing more and more paranoid. If you take a step back, you can see that the chaos of chaos revolves around a single prophecy.
The line appears, the order wanes, the family falls, and chaos reigns.
The line appears.
As far as we know, 4 characters received this prophecy: Riddy, Kaos, Ari, and Zeus. In the context of chaos, multiple people getting the same prophecy is unheard of. Most people have their own unique prophecies that foretell their destinies, whether for good or bad. Some of these characters have grown to accept their prophecy, like Kaos' mother, and others relentlessly oppose it, like Zeus. With Prometheus breaking the fourth wall to be the audience's guide, we see how each of these characters play a vital role as the prophecy unfolds.
I'm lying to Zeus. The prophecy can come to pass. He can absolutely be destroyed.
While they all have the same prophecy, it reveals itself differently in each of their lives. A line appears. In Chaos, a line can mean many different things. It can be something obvious and physical, or it can be an emotional or moral transformation. It's something that our characters can't go back from. For Zeus, it's a wrinkle on his forehead. Zeus, once a human, became immortal after murdering his father and ingesting his soul. Since then, Zeus has harvested the souls from people who went through the frame in the underworld, who'd believed they'd be renewed for a new life and instead got stuck in the nothing. But this wrinkle, and the fact that the fates gave him a prophecy at all, which was thought to be reserved for humans, means he might not be immortal after all.
I'm supposed to be immortal. What is that? Aging? What's next? A dip in bone density?
This sends him into a spiral of paranoia and impulsive, rash actions. He seeks to defy and break his prophecy, which only leads to him, ironically, causing more chaos. He takes steps that defy the laws of the universe and ends up ensuring his doom. For Riddy, Kaos, and Ari, the lines aren't quite as literal. Riddy crosses her line when she finally realizes and accepts that she's no longer in love with Orpheus. Originally known as Kaos crossed his line when he permanently altered his body to properly reflect his true gender. His namesake from Greek mythology was also born a girl, and was later transformed into a man by Poseidon. He was forced to flee his home among the Amazons, who only accepted women among them past a certain age. Ari's line is when she learns about what really happened to her brother Glaucus, and her entire sense of identity, family, and religion is sent askew. The order wanes. Order begins to unravel into chaos when the rules of the universe are broken. Zeus destroys the fates, or so he thinks. Riddy comes back to life, which is not allowed. And Kaos brings his mother's soul back to her body in the nothing, a feat previously unachievable by even Hades.
How did you do that?
Did what?
You can renew human souls.
After Ari kills her father for foolishly misinterpreting his prophecy, murdering her twin, and lying to her for her whole life, she takes control of Crete, intending to flip its religious beliefs and denounce the gods entirely, angry with them for the role they've played in her family's lives.
Help us rebuild Troy and destroy Olympus.
The family falls and chaos reigns. As for the final line of the prophecy, we've only seen the beginning. We see Zeus take tyrannical control over each member of his family, leading to them losing any loyalty or respect they may have had for the king.
There's nothing here for you, Dionysus. Maybe the better part of you is human.
In the end, the fates free Prometheus, and we're left with Prometheus sitting on Zeus's throne, blood still dripping from his eternal wound.
What are you doing? I did not summon you.
The 8th and final episode left us reeling. Zeus's dream was a vision, and he can bleed. Does this mean his mortality is returning? Who did Hera call on the payphone? Was it one of the gods we have yet to see? Perhaps one of the gods Zeus called in episode 2?
Hello, Apollo. It's Dad. Hello, Aphrodite. It's Daddy. Artemis. This is Papuza.
Now that Riddy is back among the living, how will she convince them of what she saw in the nothing? Will she team up with Ari in the palace? And who will come out on top? So many questions that can only be answered in Season 2. But for now, we can rewatch the first season and see just how many ancient Greek Easter eggs Koval and their team really hid for us.
I'm sorry, my friend. It's happening. Chaos is coming.
So what's your take on Kaos? Were you a fan of the show?
She's amazing.
Are there any Greek myths we forgot to mention? Who was your favorite character? Were you absolutely dazzled by Jeff Goldblum once again? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Scan our QR code or head over to Scentbird.com and use our code TheTake55OFF to get 55% off your first month of Scentbird.
That's The Take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And make sure to subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive new videos.